Well, good Monday morning. I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to the Buck Stops Here, sponsored by Buck Sanitary Service. Last week, for the last couple of weeks, I've been getting a lot of calls from people who said, Rick, you need to help this family. They're from Yoncalla, and a horrible thing happened. They had a house fire, and their 14-year-old daughter died in the house fire. And so we've been reaching out and talking to each other and trying to get together. And there's a GoFundMe, and they're just a sweet family. And so we're going to bring them on. But we always want to thank our sponsor, Buck Sanitary Service, because without them, we couldn't do stuff like this to help people in the community. And there's so much going on right now that I thought we should just call and talk to them about what happened. And then also talk with them about this wonderful girl named Gracey. With a name like Gracey, that says a whole lot. So I want you to meet. This is Kevin and Happy. So Kevin is obviously dad. Happy is mom to the right. You can wave a little bit, Happy, just so they know who you are. And then that's Cassie, Gracey's sister, in the back there. So you guys, thank you so much for coming on, and we really appreciate. I'm going to put people's comments will come on here too. When they join on there and want to say things, you'll see some stuff that people are saying and people just talking. So they might be talking to you. You don't have to refer to them. I may refer to them as we go. So tell me what happened.
Well, I'm not exactly sure how the fire started. Gracey was home by herself. I was at work. Happy was at work. And Cassie had just left like a half an hour before the fire started. And they say it started in the upstairs. And they're kind of pinpointing it started on one of the couches. And we're not exactly sure what could have started it there.
And so Gracey had gone upstairs to try to save a cat. Is that right?
Yeah. She had seen the fire. Called her sister. Her sister called 911. She went downstairs, got our dogs out of the house, went back upstairs to find her cat, and got trapped in all the smoke.
So go ahead.
And didn't make it out.
So, and the thing that Gracey had kind of a special gift. She had a developmental disability, which some people look at as a bad thing. I look at it as a sweet thing. And it was, so that she had that going, that she was dealing with as well.
Yeah. She actually had a major stroke just before the age of 4 that completely paralyzed her entire right side. We spent months and months at Dornbecker's, and she ended up having 4 brain surgeries and 2 leg surgeries as a result of the stroke. And so she had fought to overcome all of that, and then to be lost in a house fire.
And what's so sad about it, I mean, everything's tragic about it, but she was going to save the cat.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I bet so Happy, can you do something? I love your name, by the way, and I know it doesn't fit at these particular moment, but do you tell me about Gracey? Like, tell me about.
She was an inspiration to everybody that met her. She affected a lot of people's lives. She was my little hero. Very loving, very caring. Always laughed, always wanted to have fun.
So your town, the little town of Yoncalla, has just, they've just enveloped you, put their arms around you. And I mean, kind of talk to me a little bit about that, will you?
Go ahead.
I work at the Yoncalla store and also the high school. And our whole community has just rallied around us, and provided food for us, provided donations of clothes, and offers of whatever they could do for us. Her celebration is going to be at a friend's property so that we can just celebrate her life of the way she would want it done.
So now tell me, when in school, she was like involved with, I read online, involved with cheerleading. Kind of tell me some of the things she did that she was involved with.
She played basketball for our middle school team. She also played on the unified team, which was for kids with special needs, disabilities. She played volleyball. Even though only one of her hands worked, her and the coach showed how she could play volleyball and serve with one hand. She did cheerleading. She was just a constant part of the school.
So it sounds like the community really did accept her for who she was and her gifts, and they saw her as a human being, which isn't always what happens.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, just the people in this town. I mean, she was in middle school, so there's going to be a couple of kids that don't understand or don't care, but for the most part, everybody loved her.
So Cassie, tell me about, now how old are you, hon?
I'm 19.
You're 19?
Yep.
So tell me about your little sister from your perspective. What did she teach you about your life?
Oh man, she taught me a lot of things. Like, her confidence was crazy. And she was so outgoing. She wanted to do, like, this week, or when we went camping the last weekend, she was going and exploring into the water of the river, and she was throwing rocks, and her and I used to rock hound all the time. And she would collect rocks, or she would find a pretty rock that it reminded her of me, and she would give it to me. Like, she was always thinking of someone else.
So she would find pretty rocks that reminded her of you?
Yeah.
So do you still have some of those rocks?
I do. They are currently at the house, but yes, I do.
So what's the hardest thing for you, Cassie?
I always wanted a big sister, but she was my little sister, and she was more than anything.
Was she kind of like a big sister because she taught you about the differences of people in life?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. She taught me a lot of things. She was so strong, and when she wasn't at, like, the moment, like, so she was being bullied or something, she would come and talk to me, and I would give her tips. And when I would give her tips, I would think about it myself and remind myself that's what I need to do.
You're awesome. So can you, I have a brother-in-law who lives with a different ability, and people kind of look at him funny. That's why when I found out when your dad and I were talking, and I kept kind of pushing a little bit, kind of with something, now what's going on here? And finally, when he said the magic words that she had a special ability, I was in, because I've seen how people sometimes can be. So I think you would be really great to give. What's one of the tips that you gave Gracey when she came to you and people were saying things that may not be nice? I don't need to know what they were. It's not important. But what would you, I got an audience sitting here, and I think you can give them some amazing advice in honor of your sister, Gracey.
When she would be down, like, they're making fun of my disabilities and everything, I would say, your ability is what makes you unique. You are unique yourself. not everybody is the same. You stand out because you've gone through so many things in life, and it doesn't matter what it is. It matters how you overcome it or learn from it. And I would do the same thing when I would tell her that. And she would nod and everything and say, okay. I'm like, you gotta remember, you are you. It doesn't matter what other people think. It's what makes you happy. And if you are okay with having mismatched clothes and don't care what other people think, then that's okay. That brings you happiness.
That's awesome. So what you're making me cry, kid. And so I think you need to knock that off. That isn't fair because you're like a wise old soul in this little 19-year-old body, and you're ripping my heart out right now. So can I ask you kind of a tough question?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you gonna miss the most about Gracey?
I would have to say the quirky things she used to do. Like she would get in these moods where she would plug in her headphones and just dance around the house. Nobody else can see her music or hear her music, but she would just dance or sing, and it was just, she just let it all out. She didn't care who saw her.
So, Mom and Dad, how proud are you of that little girl sitting behind you?
Amazingly proud.
Oh my God, you guys, you have probably just like, I wish I could have met her, Gracey, because if you have a big sister like that, and don't you think that's the richness that we don't see in people with different abilities? We fail to see the thing. I mean, what if they're right? What if they see the world the right way, and we're all the ones caught up in what's the next COVID story or riot or protest or something? And when she sees the world as a place where she just puts on her music and dances, I mean, how much can we learn if we stopped and paid attention to the Gracies of the world? So you guys need like $100,000.
We didn't set up the GoFundMe account.
Okay.
We did not expect nowhere near this amount of money. It's been kind of overwhelming. So
Go ahead.
Right now we just want a new home, just to find a rental or anything. Yesterday we have a 30-foot toy hauler, and some friends of ours were gracious enough to let us move that onto their property. But we would really like to have something more permanent.
Right. And so you have Gracey, you have Cassie, any other children?
Yeah, we have 2 sons.
And they're
Yeah, Trevor and Devin.
okay.
And Trevor, Devin, and Gracey were actually foster children that we got and adopted.
Really?
Yeah. After we had Cassie, the doctor said, we just don't see you having anymore. She was a miracle, and either deal with having one kid or find some other way to get them.
So you adopted 3 other children.
Yes.
And at the time, Cassie didn't have the different ability at that point.
You mean Gracey?
I mean, Gracey, excuse me. I'm sorry, Cassie.
Yeah. Gracey was only 7 months old.
Okay.
No, she was perfectly healthy when we adopted her.
So everybody's coming on here and they're just talking about what wonderful people you are. You'll have to go back and look at all the comments and stuff.
Okay.
Because it really does speak some things about life. And I think we are all really sorry about what happened. I can't even imagine. But man, you guys, I see her in what you're talking about, and what an honor and a testament to her life. You know?
Mm-hmm. She was an amazing, amazing child.
Dad, can I ask Kevin, can I ask you, what are you going to miss the most about Gracey?
Basically the same thing Cassie said. She just had this free spirit that she didn't care at all what anybody else thought. And she was so much fun to pick on. She was. I mean, she'd walk into a room, and like she'd walk into the living room, and I'd just be sitting there watching TV. She'd just walk in, and I go, "Ah, who are you?" And it would scare her every time.
Sounded like she got that naturally from you.
Yeah.
So Happy, I don't want to drag it out, but I also don't want to not leave without what else do you want to say about your daughter, and what would you miss about her? If you want to answer that, I don't want to put pressure on you, but I also don't want to leave a moment and not offer you that.
I hope everybody just keeps her memories alive. And realize what a special child she was.
Yeah. And you know what's really kind of horribly sad is we could use her right now. In the world we live in, we need more Gracies. And it's funny because was her name? Did she come with her name, or did you name her Gracey?
No, she came with her name Gracey.
Because it sounds like she was her name.
She absolutely was.
And what we need in the world right now is not less grace. We need way more grace. But I guess somebody up there needed her more than we did. I don't know how that works. Never makes sense to me. Thank you. You guys, you have just inspired our day. And I'm sorry, it's a horrible tragedy, but I hope that you know that Gracey is still, she's getting us, you know what I mean? And I wish you well, and everybody please go do the GoFundMe, help this family out. They did not come to me asking for this. I went to them asking, and the community came to me asking for that. So that's, yeah. And again, our condolences, and we're really sorry. Cassie, man, you just go be strong. You take care of your mom and dad, okay?
I will.
They need you to take care of them.
I will.
And you hug them a lot.
Oh, yeah. And
you can never tell a parent too much that you love them.
No.
Even when they're not very smart. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. And keep in touch with me, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, you guys. Thank you. I'm going to pull. So there you go. That's kind of where the rubber hits the road, huh? A lot of stuff going on in the world. And then you hear that. And you see such a sweet family and such a wonderful big sister. And you kind of just stand back and say, that's what the world needs now, is a lot more of that love and that concern and caring. So if you can help them, it'd be great if you could. Yeah. So anyway, I want to thank Bucks, Scott and Lisa Well at Bucks Sanitary Service, because if I didn't have people like them, customers and stuff, then I could not do my job. And I couldn't do the thing that makes me come alive. And that's making sure that the memory of people like Gracey never die. And that everybody deserves a voice. And I think Gracey just got a big, huge shout out to the world we live in. So go do something nice for somebody today, and remember that, yeah, stuff happens and it's tragic. And what a kind family. And if you're a prayer, I pray for them, and that things would happen and do right. All right. That's it for this. Tonight we will be back at 5:00 to talk with a local police officer about what's going on in the world and some of the things he sees from his perspective. We talk to other folks in the other different groups, and we're going to make sure we get this in there too. So I'm Rick Dancer. This is The Buck Stops Here, and it really does stop here. The buck stops here. We can do something to help this family. All right. Have a good day.